Hello again, YouTubers, and welcome back as Lynn and I continue to count down our top 100 games of all time. So this is part 2. This is going to be our 90 through 81. And you know, right after we filmed part 1, which is for us just a couple minutes ago, I was wondering right away, I was like, you know, I wonder, because I know there's going to be some crossover between our lists, but I was wondering, I was like, how much crossover is going to happen in the same sections of the list? Not just like you cross over it all the way up in the 100 through 91, and then that game that you cross over with me appears in like the 10 through 1 section of my list, different parts of the list, but the same section. And as I was thinking about that, Lynn went and grabbed a game, and I went, oh, that's right on this section of my list. So there is going to be a crossover here in this same section, but I won't spoil what it is. So now, I went first last time, so the way we're doing this is we're alternating. So why don't you start us off and tell us what your number 90 is?
My number 90 is the Village Crone. It's a worker placement game where the players are witches that are trying to influence the villagers to do certain things to, you know, get points and win.
You're a bigger fan of this one than I am.
I
don't think this one had a chance of making my list.
Worker placement.
Yeah, it's got some worker placement in it. It's got a lot of other things going on too. You're moving around the village and doing different things. It's not a bad game, but I don't think I like it enough that there was even a chance. I don't think I even considered it for mine, but I know you do like this one a lot, though. I do. So that is Lynn's number 90. 90. The Village Crone. So my number 90 is a game that I know Lynn will actually agree with me on. There will definitely be some agreement because I'm almost certain I would probably put money on it right now that this game is going to appear higher on Lynn's list, and that is Cat Lady. Now, I've talked quite a bit about this game before. One, I really do appreciate the very bizarre and different theme they put on this, because as much as I like fantasy themes, there gets to be a point where it's like, oh, another, you know, generic fantasy theme. But this is something very different. I don't think I've ever played another game about trying to be the best crazy cat lady. And this is a weird sort of set collecting game. And I just really like it. You set up a grid, and then every turn you got to pick either a line or a column to take all the cards in that line. And then you move a token to that line or column that you took, which means when it gets replaced by the new cards, the next player is not allowed to take from that line or column. And this is just a really, really solid set collecting game. So
and it's pretty fast too. It ends pretty quickly.
Yeah, it never overstays its welcome. Yeah. This is one, and this actually this is a really good like intro game. This is a good game for non-gamers when you're trying to get non-gamers into playing because of the different theme, in my opinion.
Okay, my number 89 is Upon a Fable. It is another kind of worker placement-y game.
You got totally sideways.
I do.
Now I think it's upside down. I swear to God, there is no alcohol in the things we are drinking right here.
Ooh, okay. It's you know, fairy tale theme, loosely themed. I mean, it's mainly moving stuff around and trying to get... It's like resource management, slight worker placement, trying to get certain things.
I don't really remember how to play this game. So I'm just letting you talk. I have no... This one didn't leave an impression on me. Yeah. Well, I know you really liked it because we've played it a few times, and you're the one who keeps asking to play it. But I just, like, after we play it, it's like... It's gone. I don't remember it.
Okay.
I do not remember how to play this game.
Well, does the back look familiar to you?
A little bit.
A little bit?
A little bit. I remember something about the resources.
You get like a bingo card, and you have resources on that.
I don't remember how it works, though. Yeah. But you like this one a lot.
I do. I like it.
I like the artwork a lot. It's a very pretty looking game.
This was... I got this at Gen Con. It was some kind of package thing where you sent me to a booth for 2 games.
Yeah, it was when we did our rush at the beginning of the convention.
They were having a special, like, buy 2, get 1 free.
So you just picked this.
And I was just like, they weren't my games that I was picking up. They were yours. It's just that it was in the direction I was going. And I was like, the fairy tale one?
And then you really liked it, so that was good. That's good.
But when I told you about it, you got a little bit annoyed that I didn't get like yet another like Grognard game
How dare you?
All that it was the same with. I don't remember what game it was.
I think it was Warband Against the Darkness.
Yeah.
Which was a game, unfortunately, that just missed my list because I do like Warband Against the. You liked Warband Against the Darkness though too.
Yeah, well, I was.
But you like this one more, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the game company mainly had just like moving cubes around, fighting kind of thing.
It's not really a fighting game though. But anyway, this is your number. Was it 89 now?
89.
I keep losing track of the numbers. So 89. Upon a Fable for Lynn. Now, my 89 is a game that I know will definitely not cross over. Lynn took an instant dislike to it because of a bad deal of the cards and has basically been refusing to play it with me ever since. I have played it with other people and I thoroughly enjoy it and think she should give it another chance because I really think it was just she got a bad deal, and that is Outer Earth. And Outer Earth has a really unique system. Well, one also, though, and I really want to draw attention to it, the artwork in this game is just gorgeous. And this is one that's becoming hard to find because it's been out of print for a while and it was a small game release anyway. But it has this really interesting bidding mechanic, and then it has this very interesting system with the cards where the cards have pipes that go along them. Let me show a picture of what they look like. And you have to, when you collect the cards to use as resources, they have to connect to the pipes on the previous card. You can kind of see it there in the picture. And it was really interesting because it's like, okay, so I want to play this one first because this one can connect to that one. And you can't play them in the wrong order because if you're playing them in the wrong order, they're not going to connect. And I don't really have anything else that plays like that. And it makes this one pretty unique in my collection. And that's Outer Earth. I really like the look of this game. I really like the play style of this game. And it comes in, when you play it, usually under an hour. It's a fairly quick game and a fairly small box game, and I like it quite a bit. So that is Outer Earth, my number 89.
So my number 88 is Phase.
Making sure it was right side up?
Well, because the
other side is not, yeah.
I
love that the box is even dual-sided with one side black and one side white.
It's just you didn't put the cover on.
Well, that happens.
Anyway, so this was this the 2016 black box? What year was it?
It was the last time they did it. So yeah, I think it was 2016.
Oh yeah, 2016 is on the side.
Yeah.
So this was the game that was in the AEG black box.
For Black Friday.
The only game for that year. Usually it's a bunch of games. And it's not a collectible card game, but it is
it's a self-contained card
game. It's a self-contained card game, like in the same sort of vein as Magic the Gathering, or
but yet very much its own thing. This is a very unique game, and this originally was meant to be a collectible card game, but it never got released as such. And then they finally did release it as the black box game. Yeah,
and I mean, it's broken and it's meant to be broken.
But it's fun. Yeah. It's so... I love that... this has a very similar mechanic to Duke with flipping the... in Duke, you flip the pieces every time you move them. And this, every time you use a card for anything, you flip it and it becomes something else. And your opponent has to remember what is on the other side. And that's the kind of memory mechanics that I like. Like, I don't usually like memory mechanics, but I do like that. And I'm not disagreeing with your pick of Phase at all. I love Phase. I think it's a great game. Not saying whether it's on my list higher or not, mind you, but I do quite enjoy Phase. So now that was your number 89. My number 88.
That was 88, Josh.
Oh, that was your 88. Yes. Excuse me. Lynn's 88 was Phase. My number 88 is a game that also, unfortunately, is out of print at this point, but I quite enjoy it. This is a game that still hits the table for us once in a while, and I don't think we've ever had a bad time playing this game, and that is Gothic Doctor. Now, we had this little, like, mini release that they had done before their actual production release. I'm kind of sad we never upgraded to the production version, which now is, like, impossible to find. Maybe they'll do another... I don't think
think there's any really need to. I mean, everything that...
Yeah, it all works, but maybe they'll do... It just, the components look nicer in the production version. But maybe they'll do another a re-release of this at some point. But the idea behind Gothic Doctor, and this was, I think this might have been the first game we reviewed on the channel. If I remember correctly, it was either this or Mouse Guard Swords and Strongholds. But this might have been the very first game we reviewed on the channel. Don't watch that review. It's really old and not very good. But the idea with Gothic Doctor is you're a Victorian-era doctor in a fictional universe that shares the fictional universe with all of the Gothic tales from that time period. So, like...
werewolves,
vampires, witches, Frankenstein's monster,
banshees,
the Invisible Man, and you have to treat them. And it's like hand management. You collect resources that the cards show you are required to treat them, and you get points for every patient you treat. And the more cards they require to treat them, the more points they're worth.
Yes.
And this is a really fun game. I really enjoy Gothic Doctor.
Okay. My 87.
Okay.
87 is a storytelling game. Once Upon a Time.
This is a good game.
You get a hand of cards, and you have to tell a story. And the first player to empty their hand, and you have to end with the happily ever after card, is the winner. But the thing is that you have things in your hand that just say like prince or horse. And if the person telling the story uses any one of those components, you can put down that card, and then you take over the story.
Right. This is a really cool storytelling game. I agree with you. It's a really good game.
Yeah, and so it's like you do know like the words that are in there, so it's like you find yourself trying to tell a story without using certain words.
But you can't help it. You fall into the tropes. You're telling a fairy tale, so you fall into those fairy tale tropes. No, this is a really good game. It was a good pick. And then
also, if you're the person like listening, you're like looking at your cards, you're just like, say pumpkin, say pumpkin. I know you want to say pumpkin. You know?
And it's so rewarding when someone says like horse, and you're like, ha! I have the horse.
You just like slam it down on the table.
Yeah, and then you get to take over and start getting rid of some of your cards until you accidentally say road, and someone goes, I have the road. Yeah, no, it's a good game. It is a good game. So my number 87 is my first big box area control game to make my list. But it will not be the last. It is a genre I love, and that is Risk Game of Thrones. Now, this is my current favorite version of Risk, so there will not be any other versions of Risk on this list. This is the only one that made my list. And the primary reason I like it so much is the objective cards in here. Now, with the classic game of Risk, there's too much of player elimination, as well as the fact that the game can go on for a really long time. So after you eliminate a player, they're sitting around twiddling their thumbs for ages. That doesn't happen in this version. So in this version, you have these objective cards, and when you achieve an objective, you get points. And when you hit a certain number of points, you win. And it's quick enough that I've never seen someone get eliminated from this. It could theoretically happen if someone played really badly, but generally it doesn't happen. I've never seen someone get eliminated. Usually you win by getting the objective points, and it also keeps the game from dragging on and overstaying its welcome. And those two things combine to make this my favorite version of Risk. So, and I mean, the thing was, when I was a kid, I played Classic Risk a lot, and I loved Classic Risk, and I thought it was a really good game until more modern games disabused me of that notion, and so I don't have a classic version of Risk anymore. But some of the modern twists they've done on Risk when they put an official IP on it have been really good, and this one tops my list of Risk games. So that was my number 87, Risk Game of Thrones.
My number 86. My 86 is, it's heavy, Battle Lore.
That is a heavy box.
I wasn't expecting to like this game because I don't like games with minis that are basically just a battle.
Yeah, you're not usually a big fan of battle strategy games. When I got this game, you were a little like, oh man.
It was pretty much because of how you move them. With the cards. Because I guess you could say I'm not a good tactician. When it's left to me where to move people and what to do, like I'm terrible, but you have a hand of cards. And so it's as much as you know,
it's the hand management.
It's a handicap to someone like you who is good at the tactics. Because you only have certain things you can do. So do I, but I mean, it kind of levels the playing field a little bit, I feel.
And that's fair. And also, a big part of this that you also liked, that I remember you telling me you liked when we first played it a handful of times and reviewed it, was you said you really liked that the goal is not to kill each other. The goal is to hold the objectives. It's kind of like, I mean, the game is really sort of played like a King of the Hill. There's point tiles. And you want to sit on those point tiles and hold them for long amounts of time to get the points, and that's how you win. And the game ends long before you wipe out one army or the other. It's not about killing each other. So, and that also makes it very interesting. Oh, great choice. Great game. Great game. So now my number 86 is a game that it hasn't hit the table in a while, but this game, we played this game a lot. And I like this game best at 2 players, though it can play more. It can play up to 4, but I think it drags on at higher player counts. But this is a game that will not leave my collection because I don't have anything else that really fills the niche that it does. And I still like it, and I think I would play it anytime that you wanted to, for sure. And that is Gosu. Now, Gosu is an interesting sort of battle card game where you're using the cards to buy more cards, and you're setting up a grid of cards, and at the end of every round, once everybody's played as many cards as they can, they fight each other. And they do their special abilities, and they get you, and sort of like a hand management, a resource management, head-to-head card game. And I just when we got this, I mean, we played the heck out of this one. This was one that you and I mean, we were playing this all the time for a while.
It's because you wanted to play it.
So is this not going to be?
I'm not a big fan of card games. There are some exceptions, but I'm not
like Phase that already made your list.
Well, I'm not a big fan of card games where to get cards out you have to discard or other cards to do it.
That can happen in this, but it's not okay. That's fair, but that is my pick for my number 86, Gosu.
My number 85 is another heavy one.
You picked a lot of heavy ones for this block of 10.
Is Blood Rage.
This is like your war strategy area, isn't it? Like there's a lot of big war strategy games in here.
I wasn't expecting to enjoy this game either, honestly, because again, minis and battles. But
it's not really about that though.
Well, no, I liked that it was different. It wasn't just killing the other person. You get points for killing yourself in this one, which I'm really good at.
The Loki strategy.
I'm really good at killing myself.
You're like, oh, you killed my whole forces. I guess I'll just have to take all the points. It's so crazy. It really is. This is a fantastic game. It really is. So I'm actually I'm not really that surprised that this made your list because you have expressed that you really like this game. I was a little surprised also though, by how much you did like it after we originally played it though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great one. So what number was that for you?
It was Blood Rage, 85.
85. Okay, so now it is my turn for my 85, and this is one that surprised me when we originally played it because this is not a genre of game that I usually go out of my way to be like, oh, I got to get some of those, and that is dexterity, balancing, stacking type games. But Lynn picked this up at Gen Con. She really wanted to play it, and then I was shocked by how much I enjoyed this game and the simple joy of junk art. Now, first off, they have a newer edition where they made the pieces in plastic. But I say to hell with that, because this big, beautiful wooden box from the original edition and the wooden pieces is just gorgeous, and I'm really glad we have this in our collection. And this game is just fantastic. I love the fact that no 2 games are ever alike, because the fact that you always deal 3 random cards for the cities you go to, and each city is a different full set of rules. And so it's always a different set of three different mini games that you play that can be totally different. Sometimes you're building a sculpture together. Sometimes you're each building your individual sculpture. Sometimes you have to have the most pieces. Sometimes the sculpture has to be the tallest.
Isn't there one where you have to rotate around the table and you take over someone else's sculpture?
Yeah, I mean, there's some crazy stuff in here, but this is. I think this is definitely my favorite stacking game right now. And the thing is, I don't usually even like stacking games. But yeah, Junk Art is a fantastic game. If you're looking for a dexterity balancing stacking game, this is the one I would recommend to you, because I really like this game a lot. And this is one, it still hits our table. It does. So, Junk Art. Come here, Fenders. What are you doing?
Let's see. So, okay, I was on 84. My number 84 is Flippin' Flags. It is, I guess, sort of, I wouldn't call it dexterity.
No, it's not dexterity. It's speed.
It's speed, a speed-based game. You separate the deck between the players kind of evenly. It's 2 to 5. And each card has 3 flags. Card has 3 flags on it. And what you do is all the players simultaneously take the top card of their deck and flip it over into a pile. You're not really, you can cover other flags, but you're supposed to kind of have it spread out so you can see multiple flags. And if you see 2 of the same flags, you shout out the name of the country, and then you collect those cards with those 2 flags
which
on
are points.
And whoever has the most cards at the end of the game wins. So it's interesting because it's not, I mean...
It's kind of educational.
It's educational, but it is speed-based. So you can't really sit there and think about
No, you gotta think fast.
You just have to, like, yell it out.
You just gotta be like, Jamaica! And then grab the 2 Jamaican flags. Russia! Grab the 2 Russian flags. And then be like, Australia, New Zealand, so similar.
New Australia.
Yeah, Australia and New Zealand always throw us for a loop when they both come up. Oh man, because they're so similar, those flags. But yeah, no, you like that game more than I do.
I do. I like flags. I like geography.
Yes, fair enough. Okay, so my number 84 is a game that it involves making buildings. And I love games where you build stuff. I love games where you build cities. I love games where you build amusement parks. I love games where you build space stations. And I love games where you build buildings. And this game is Pagoda. Now, this is a heads-up, one-on-one game where you use sort of hand management and resource management to be able to get the right parts to build your pagodas. And this game is just tons of fun. I mean, it's not very complicated. It's very easy to understand, very easy to play. But I really, and this is one that you and I have played a bunch. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy playing this game with you. Because I love...
Because you win all the time?
That's not why, though. I mean, I enjoy it. I love the thinking ahead. I love how you have to plan because each color, the color tile also then will have a color that shows you what piece needs to be the next pillars for the next area. So you have to plan ahead. You're like, okay, I can get a bunch of red pillars, so I want to play this tile that's gonna need red pillars. This is just, it's a really fun game. It's fairly easy to play. It's fairly quick to play, and I like those games in our collection that are great 2-player games that you and I can just play when we're looking to play a game for just you and I. And this is one of those games for us. Pagoda is my number 84.
So my 83 is The 3 Little Pigs. It's part of the yellow, fairy tale storybook, Tales and Games. It's the first one. Has a one there.
They've done a bunch of these now.
They've done a bunch. We've played
a few of them.
We've played a few of them. This is the only one we've kept.
It's a good game.
It is. It's there's dice in it. I love rolling dice. You have to build houses, and it doesn't always work. But the little spinner thing, you're supposed to blow on it like the Big Bad Wolf.
The Big Bad Wolf,
and I think that is hilarious.
And the dice have that press your luck dice element, similar to King of Tokyo, which is in the last section of my list. Which I really like that. I do like that. Good pick. So, my number 83 is a game that Lynn and I have enjoyed bringing to the coffee house with us on more than one occasion. This is a fantastic strategical card game with some bluffing elements, but the kind of bluffing elements that Lynn likes, because she's not big on, like...
I'm not good at talking while bluffing.
Yeah, you just...
I just start laughing.
This is the Stratego type of bluffing elements, and this game is thunder and lightning. So in this game, one player is Thor and the other is Loki, and you are... it is a thoroughly symmetrical strategy game using cards where the cards are face down, and if you attack straight across, you can have up to 3 columns of cards. If you attack straight across, you each have to then reveal what the card is and figure out if the cards have won the battle or not. And this is a very, very enjoyable game. We've played it a lot, and it's always really good. This is another one that is part of that group of strictly 2-player games in our collection that I love for those times when you and I are just looking to play a 2-player game with one another. And this was I think on your top 10 2-player games list. So.
Yeah.
So there it is. My number, I always forget what number
83.
it is. 83, Thunder and Lightning.
My number 82 is the Game of Thrones Risk.
That is the crossover we had in the same section.
And it is because of the objective cards.
They're so good.
Like I said, I'm really bad at tactics, so regular Risk, where you're just trying to take over the world, I'm terrible at it. But I can get objectives with the best of them and win. I've won this.
Yes. It's a great game.
So that is why it is my 82.
82, Risk Game of Thrones. Now, my 82 is a fun little card game by a fantastic designer. This game is Shoton. Now, Shoton was designed by the very, very famous Dr. Reiner Knizia, and this is a fantastic game. Now, Dr. Knizia focuses in on mechanics first, adds theme later. The theme, though, on this particular game is that you are warring Scottish clans fighting over a border, but they did have a different release of this under a different title. I think it was called Battle Line, where I think you were 2 different ancient world armies, and it was much more serious, less tongue-in-cheek. But it doesn't really matter. The mechanics are exactly the same. And the idea is you have these stones that you're fighting over, and you're playing cards one at a time.
Wasn't it supposed to be like Hadrian's Wall or something?
It might have been them fighting over Hadrian's Wall, but you're in the Battle Line version.
No, in this one, because it's the UK.
Oh, they're just called rune stones.
Okay.
They're just called. In this one, it's just their rune stones, and you play cards one at a time to build up 3-card poker hands. And basically, once you can prove that you have the better 3-card poker hand, you get that stone. If you can get 3 stones in a row or any 5 stones from the wall, you win the game of Shoton. And this is another this is one I got because it was a highly rated 2-player game, and this is another one that I would play with you anytime when we're looking to play 2-player games. I mean, you've enjoyed playing this one with me.
It's okay, yeah. I mean, I don't like it as much as
you don't like it as much as I do.
No.
I've also played this a bunch with Alex, and Alex really loves this one too. That is Shoton, which also has a fantastic name. I mean, come on, Shoton. You gotta love that. Which was my 82.
My number 81 is...
And this is your final one for this part of the list.
Letters from Whitechapel. So this is a hidden movement for one player, because one player is Jack the Ripper, and the other players are the detectives trying to find Jack's hideout or capture him.
It's a bit asymmetrical, yeah.
I think it's fun. It's really hard to be Jack.
I think this is best at 2 players, actually.
Yeah.
Because, like, you can play a bunch of people as the cops, but then there's always a lot of dispute, and the thing is, while they're disputing, they're giving away what they're thinking to the Jack the Ripper player.
Well, I think
it makes it easier on them.
I think that's why they're supposed to take turns being the lead detective. So the other people who are not the lead detective that turn are just supposed to kind of sit there quietly, but they never do.
No, and when it comes down to it, this one feels very much to me like it's a 2-player game that they shoehorned in other player sizes at. Because this game plays really well at 2 players, and every other player count, I think the more players you add, the less well it plays, in my opinion. But I think it's a really interesting, mechanically interesting game, and a good pick for your list for sure, because you really enjoyed this one. But I like it too, but it didn't, spoiler, it didn't quite make my list. But no, good pick. I like Letters from Whitechapel. So my number 81.
81.
My number 81, yes, which will be the final one for my list for this part of the top 100 games is Dastardly Dirigibles. Now, Dastardly Dirigibles is a super fun set collecting game where you're collecting different parts of a dirigible to place on the blueprints of the dirigible in front of you, and you want to have as many as you can of the same suit of dirigible parts, because there's a bunch of different suits.
I think there's like 7 or 8.
There's 7 plus wild cards.
Yeah.
And you want to have as many as you can. The only time you don't is if you actually get a handful of all different suits. You can try to go for a muddle and literally have one of each suit, not counting the wilds. Mm-hmm. And we've played this game a lot. And we've played it with a lot of different people. And this has never gone over poorly. Dastardly Dirigibles has always been a hit for us. Mm-hmm. And that's why it makes my number 81 on the list, because I really enjoy playing it. I play it anytime. You've enjoyed it quite a bit, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, this is when you've asked to play a lot. I'm wondering if it might be higher on your list. We'll see. This might be a crossover, but hard to tell because tastes do fluctuate over time, and it has been a little while since we played this one. But there you have it. For our part 2 of our top 100 games of all time. This was our 90 through 81. So let us know in those comments down below what you think of our choices for our 90 through 81. Do you like these games? Do you dislike these games? What are some of your favorite games? Go ahead, comment down below. And if you enjoy, or if you're enjoying us doing our top 100 games of all time, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Share it on any forms of social media you may have. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Kaptain. That's Kaptain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.